Welcome to the end of day 19. This is Wednesday, and we've got 2 more days of work here, and I probably shouldn't say that out loud because Tim might have a heart attack. Anyway, if we pan this thing over here, you'll notice something. And what is it you'll notice? Lights. See, this has a light, and there's lights all along here. There's these green things. And the display is on. That means we got it plugged in and it's kind of working. And if you look here at this rack, look at all those lights. We got this stuff all plugged in. And there's the Mac. It's up and running. It's doing something kind of weird and crazy. It's actually turned off, but we see this this dimness, for some reason. We're not sure why. And this I got up and running yesterday, and the Matrix, we've been playing around with it. It's getting more programmed. I plugged all the stuff in, so we can display the Mac up on the screens. We can display this Blu-ray player up on the screens, and yeah, it's kind of cool. So today, I would like to say we got a lot of physical stuff done. We got a lot of cords and all sorts of things done. We didn't. Today is what we have declared a ponder day. We have sat and scratched our heads a lot. Why have we scratched our heads? Because there are a few items that are not working just like they're supposed to. One, I keep walking around. One being the mixer. The AV booth mixer has not been communicating with the rack mixer back there. We have had a couple hours of tough problem solving with those two. But we finally got it going and they're communicating. The only problem is now when we talk through a microphone, we don't hear it through the speakers. Oh, and by the way, the speakers are powered. I don't know if you can see it. Oh yeah, there you go. If you see that little white light on that speaker and that white light, and then behind this ladder, that one, 3 speakers are powered. Why aren't the other 3? Well, we discovered something and we had to do a little back work today. There is Cat 5e that runs back and forth over these arches that are up here. I ran the Cat 5e up there and I terminated them properly. Well, Tim soldered the audio cable, plugged everything in, and it wasn't working. After a while, we finally looked at the book, the Great Owner's User Manual, the things that tells you generally what's wrong and how to do things properly. We discovered that I terminated them incorrectly, opposite of what is logical. So I had to go around and re-terminate every single Cat 5e, and there's a lot of them. There's, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 10, 12. There was 13 that I had to re-terminate opposite of what they were. Once I did that, boom, on they came and they powered and they're working great. And they're plugged into this sequencer here. This top rack is a sequencer. For anyone who doesn't know what a sequencer is, it has sets of pods, 1, 2, and 3, and there's groups of power cables back there. And this determines what order things are turned on. So for example, we've got the soundboard plugged into pod 1, we've got the rack plugged into pod 2, and the speakers are plugged into pod 3. So in that order, we push this one button here, the soundboard turns on, works properly, the rack, everything in the rack turns on, works properly, the speakers then will turn on, work properly. There is a very specific order, and it will shut things down in the correct reverse order as well when we turn it off. So everything right here, essentially, except for this rack, which is the lighting video rack, everything will turn on in its proper order in the way it needs to work well. One thing I'm going to correct from yesterday's video is I mentioned in the video how this is audio over here, this is the audio station, and then this is the video station, and that was lighting, and I said, what in the world does lighting need so much room for? I was corrected. This is lighting and video. This is projection. And I forgot all about that. And so here we've got our switcher. This does some really cool video switching from different video inputs. And so there's two monitors there that you can monitor. Monitors to monitor video stuff. And lighting really only gets this. I gotta still learn how to control this gimbal. Lighting really only just gets this. And that, I guess. It's a light. And that's about it. So, yep, a lot of head scratching, a lot of pondering. But we got a few things done. Tim, near the end of the day, had a tour, kind of a training session, so to speak. And we weren't ready because things weren't working well enough to be ready. But it started about 6 and ended about 9:30ish. So for 3.5 hours, there was about 10 to 15 people in here that he was kind of teaching and training all of this new, not really training, but kind of telling them what was here. On a side note, I was talking yesterday about my Wi-Fi system, how I got Ethernet cables. So I thought I would come in here. Ooh, I may have to turn the computer off and show off this that's hanging from the ceiling. I have access point number 2 hung, turned on and going. That's exciting because we've got some amazing network coverage here now. There's still a couple things I need to look into in regards to their internet. I've got to create some new networks. Why is this going down? I don't know. I've got to create some new networks. I got to create a hidden network for the AV booth that's all by itself. So let's see, what else did we do? Tim was finishing up the rack back here, and that's where he's talking. He spent part of the day that he wasn't contemplating the audio equipment. But I'll go show you the rack. It's turned on. I think it's turned on at least. There, see? Look at that. It's all turned on. We've got the receivers for the mics up here, and here is an Audex receiver, and this is just power, and then this is the stage rack mixer. So essentially what's going on here is all the mics and all the speakers, everything is plugged into here. This is like a mixer, but it's for back here. It's a stage box of sorts. And then we have a Cat 6 cable that runs all the way through the roof back to the AV booth, and the mixer in the AV booth is what controls this stuff here. So none of this stuff is in the AV booth making a mess and causing havoc. So we got some other stuff there that we didn't really do much with or work on. But once again, here's Tim's little station that he's been working on, and I was actually getting in here and doing some stuff today. This is the Ethernet port that connects that mixer to the mixer in the AV booth, which is plugged into a card, and we switched out the cards. There's 2 cards. Dual wrap-ups. We played around with the card that comes in the mixer at the AV booth and a card that comes in, and that's what plugs in the Ethernet. Come on, there we go. So I don't know about much more. Oh, actually, I'll show you this. This is what I will show you, because I was just talking about the mixer that was back there with all those inputs. Look at how clean this mixer board is. Look at that. Isn't that fancy? We can run the entire system, and nothing is plugged into this. No cords to be messy. All we've got, let's get this in here a little bit better. All we got is this Cat 6 that goes to the back, goes to the stage mixer, and everything's plugged in back there, out of sight. working and we don't have to worry about it. One other thing that is plugged in here is, let me see if I can rotate this down. I'd have to really rotate this. There we go. This is plugged in. And what is this? Well, this goes to this direct box, which converts, well, it's not really, it's a conversion, but can't get back there. It goes into the Mac right here. So then the Mac can be broadcast. Anything audio that comes out of the Mac can go out there. So that's here. There'll be a few things plugged in back here, like the Blu-ray. I gotta get this thing working. There's a little light here. Huh, interesting. The Blu-ray player will be plugged in. The CD player will be plugged in. Anything that does audio here in the booth will get plugged into this board. And so there will be some cables, but it's really nice, isn't it? It's so clean. It sits here practically empty, but the whole thing works. It's a fancy, cool digital board. No layers. It's a 32 channel. Let's see. Yep, it is a 32 channel, no layer board. Makes it real nice and easy to work with. You don't have to worry about where you've plugged things in at. It's just a really nice, user-friendly board. It's a PreSonus. I like that brand. So anyway, I'll move my computer over here. Don't you love the light? Oh, I know. The last thing that I'll do in closing, I will see if we can show off how the sequencer works, because I kind of explained how it shuts everything off in a specific sequence. So I'll see if I can aim this in such a way. Okay, let's see if I can aim this in such a way that we can see the rack. You'll have to be watching real close. Okay, so what we can see here is rack lights. See, there's some lights blinking here, and this is the one to watch for. And you can see these green lights along here on the board, and you can even see the speaker light right there. So I'm going to, hang on. Am I turning this off or leaving it on? Okay, so you'll have to watch carefully at what turns off. So the speakers are turned off. They just turned off. And oh, this just turned off. And the board just turned off. Took a few seconds. It's got to do it in its proper. Oh, I know why it took a long time for the speakers. It's going through each and every speaker one at a time, turning it off. So the speakers. So let me back this up a little bit here. So turning on, the board comes on first, the rack second, each speaker third, and then when it turns off, the speakers turn off, the rack turns off, then the board turns off, and that makes things really nice. So I hope that was demonstrated nicely. I hope you were able to see each of the little lights turning off when it was supposed to. But it's a really cool feature. It's something that I believe everybody who runs an AV system needs, is this little sequencer. Actually, there's a few things I think everybody, business, church, organization, school, anybody who runs any kind of an AV system needs, is the sequencer and a matrix. Let me get back here. A switcher matrix. This is cool. This is one of the best things ever. You definitely need some power. The juice, I don't know if it's Juice Goose that you would want, but get the power. And oh, and the one thing that I learned that I'd never heard of before were the little brush, the little things that fit in the rack, and they're a brush, and it's the cord bypass. That thing is cool. So I think everyone needs some of those. And well, you can always use drawers. And some sort of a media player. I don't know if I actually like this one necessarily, because there's no USB port. It's just a plain old CD player. Oh, here, let me point this out. This is really cool. It's got a docking system in here. So you can't, come on, you could put a 30-pin iPod or iPhone in here, and you flip this up, and it's even got room for a, come on, there we go, a Thunderbolt. So it's very Apple oriented, but so am I, so I like that. That's actually a cool deal. So you could put anything you want to in there. You could probably plug in an iPad if you get a long enough cord to adapt it. Anyway, I'm just kind of talking now, so I need to end this video. But we're very tired and it's time for dinner and then probably bed. But this is the end of day 18 with 2 more to go. Tomorrow 19, Friday 20, and we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens the next day to see if we have a day 21. Not that we're working, but we might be training, and so I might make a video based and talk about the training if we do some training. We'll see. They're supposed to be meeting in here this weekend, so we've got some stuff to do to make sure that that happens. It's doable. We can do it. We can get it done. But yeah. So anyway, I'll talk to everyone later. Hit subscribe if you want to see when these things pop up. Thanks for watching. Bye. And there's Tim waving.